It seems like it's a known thing in the Minecraft community at this point that everyone has phases in which they actively play the game, usually occurring once a year around the time of the next big update. Usually played with friends in a private server where you speedrun to fight the Ender Dragon, build some stuff before calling it around the 2-week mark. Now all this is totally fine, but what if there was a possible way to fight this burnout? You end up playing so much within that allocated time, it seems like there's not much to do after. This is where the concept of the forever world comes in. These videos start showing up on my homepage talking about a forever world. A YouTube veteran, CarFlo, has started a series in his world documenting how he's playing and setting up his first home base. Another larger creator, Niko, has been streaming his playthrough of his world while talking to his community and just enjoying the game. There's another YouTuber named Luvstar who's amazing, and while she does have a forever world, her focus on the concept was to explain it and the positive effects that she's seen from it. It's Luvstar and CarFlo were the ones to introduce me to the concept and decided to give it a shot for myself, starting off small and quite slow, but surely having bigger aspirations as it moves forward. With this being a forever world, the main focus of this first episode is going to be finding the perfect starting area. This ended up being a much bigger challenge than expected, very time consuming, and you'll see why. Starting off in the jungle biome, it's definitely nice. While it's not where I necessarily want to settle, it's amazing for starting, as it has watermelon and usually some bamboo around as good food source and future resource farming. Taking a quick look around, I find this blue parrot, which I'm going to name Stefan, as my partner and I have been watching a lot of Vampire Diaries. After gathering some watermelon, we eventually make our way to a small forest biome, which we make use of by grabbing some wood to get us some gear to get started. It's also in this forest we find a good amount of animals to kill, getting us some extra food and enough wool for a bed. While gathering these things is when I come across a huge opening into a cave with a bunch of copper and iron on the surface. Since I don't have a purpose for copper at this moment, and our inventory space is quite limited, I decided to skip on it for now and focus on iron and coal. Once it gets to nighttime, I carve out a small little nook and go to sleep. After gathering just enough wood to get us through what ended up being a much longer journey than I expected, I build a boat, grab Stefan, and off I go in search of where to officially call home. It's here that I call this a challenge, as I spent the next roughly 15 minutes sailing before finding land. While I do end up sailing for a bit, I figured we could have a quick talk. The reason to want a forever world could be different for everybody. Maybe you miss how you could play Minecraft for months as a kid without getting tired and crave that feeling again. Kind of like a weird form of nostalgia. Maybe you've run out of games you want to play on your Steam library and want something to hold your attention in the meantime. For me though, I've been wanting a forever game. You know, something to go back to that's always there. Something comforting and the same as how I left it. Even after a few months or so of not playing it actively due to life, it's there. Life for me lately has been weird, especially this year. I'm in a weird point in life where I'm craving and striving for change, which while it sounds contradictory for me to say that, let me explain. In the process of working towards change in my life, wanting to move across the country to meet up with my friends, finding a new job that can help me achieve that goal, cutting out things in my life that either use too much money or just take too much of my time. For example, I've been trying to cut down the time I'm on my phone by avoiding certain apps like TikTok and Instagram when I can, working on restoring an iPod that I bought earlier this year so I don't have to go on Spotify, pay for that subscription, eventually go on my phone, and then just end up scrolling through TikTok and Instagram again. It's a real, just endless loop. Trying to make change and correct certain behaviors so I can hopefully improve and better take charge in my own life. But with so much change means a bit of a mental struggle at times. This world for me is something nice and comforting to come back to, even if it's just occasionally playing for 40 minutes to an hour at a time. It functions similarly to journaling and writing music for me, as I'll have something to look back on and expand as life moves on. Looking back at past builds or videos, looking back at where I may have been at the time. If you end up relating or even have your own experience to share, go ahead and do it in the comments below. I'd love to talk with you. Anyway, let's continue with the gameplay. After finally finding land, 15 minutes it took me. That was insane. We take a look around and decide to spend the night on shore, but explore in the morning. After taking a look around for a while, finding a ruined portal, and start hiking up a mountain. And right at the top, we see it open into a huge cave with all of these stone pillars coming up. It reminded me of the air temples from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I immediately decided that this was the perfect place to call home with that idea in mind. I quickly set up my bed and furnace and log off the world for the first time, taking the in-between times of this episode being uploaded and the next one to look for some inspiration and get ready to build. I'll check in with you once I'm ready to do so. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I'll be putting together episode 2 as this one comes out, so be ready for that. I figured I'd end this video off with a question for you to answer if you'd like. Have you guys ever heard of a forever world before? Do you have one? And whether you do already or are now thinking of starting one, tell me why. I'd like to see what your thoughts are on this. Alright, I'm gonna go now, guys. See ya.